In a big boost to its fight against COVID-19, Delhi gets 2 new COVID hospitals. Sardar Patel COVID Care Centre in Chhatarpur with 10,000 beds begins operations, while the 1,000-bed COVID hospital in southwest Delhi is built by DRDO in a record time of 12 days. Air India announces 36 evacuation flights between India and US from 11th to 19th of July under Vande Bharat mission. Ticket bookings to begin from today evening through Air India website. Domestic flight operations also witness a slow and steady rise. Flood situation in Assam shows further improvement. Rivers in Bihar show decline in water levels. Mumbai gets a break from continuous rains. Waterlogging in several parts of Gujarat as rainfall continues in the state. Met Department forecasts intense lightning and thunderstorm in several parts of the country. Archaeological Survey of India to reopen monuments across the country for public with full security and precautions after more than 3 months. However, Taj Mahal, Agra Fort and other monuments in Agra to remain shut in view of the COVID situation in the city. Recovery rate from COVID-19 in India improves to nearly 61% with over 4 lakh recoveries. Active cases in the country stands at 2,44,814, 19,268 deaths reported in the country so far. Global tally of confirmed cases of COVID-19 nears 1.14 crore with over 61 lakh recoveries and 5.33 lakh fatalities. US remains the hardest hit country with over 28.7 lakh cases, followed by Brazil and Russia. Good morning. You're watching DD News and I'm Preeti presenting the bulletin. In the next half an hour, we'll get an account of everything that's been making it to the headlines. Our top story first. To cope up with the projected surge in the number of COVID-19 cases in the national capital, huge makeshift facilities are being set up to meet the demands across the city. 2 such critical facilities have been added in the national capital on Sunday to fight the COVID pandemic. Home Minister Amit Shah and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh visited a newly created temporary hospital with 1,000 beds, including 250 in the ICU for COVID-19 patients in Delhi on Sunday. The facility has been constructed in just 12 days near the Indira Gandhi International Airport. Armed Forces Medical Services team will run the hospital, while the Defence Research and Development Organisation will maintain it. As a mark of honour, the ICU and ventilator ward in the hospital has been named as Colonel B. Santosh Babu Ward, and other wards also named after the Indian Army troops who lost their lives in the Galwan Valley clash last month.
ये कोरोना मरीजों के लिए एक टेम्पररी हॉस्पिटल बना है। सबसे बड़ी विशेषता ये है कि इसको 12 दिन के अंदर ही यह तैयार किया है। मुझे यह भी जानकारी दी गई कि लगभग 250 से अधिक इंटेंसिव केयर यूनिट्स यहाँ पर हैं। वेंटिलेटर्स, ऑक्सीजन और अन्य सारी सुविधाएं तो यहाँ पर उपलब्ध हैं ही। अपने में परफेक्ट हॉस्पिटल है। मैंने WHO की जो भी गाइडलाइंस हैं, उन गाइडलाइंस को ध्यान में रखते हुए ही इस टेम्पररी हॉस्पिटल का निर्माण किया गया है। 1000 बेडेड।
Apart from this facility, Delhi also has one of the largest COVID care facilities in the world now. Delhi Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal inaugurated the 10,000-bed Sardar Patel COVID Care Centre, one of the world's largest facilities at Radha Swami Satsang Byas in Bhatti Mines, Delhi on Sunday. Baijal reviewed the availability of beds, oxygen cylinders, concentrators, ventilators, ICUs and medical staff at the centre set up in Chhatarpur. While Delhi government has provided administrative support, ITBP is the nodal agency operating the centre under the name Operation Corona Warriors. A team of counsellors and psychiatrists will also be present at the facility to help those who are stressed or traumatized due to the COVID-19 outbreak.
कोविड केयर जब यहाँ आएगा तो जो हमारे डेडिकेटेड हॉस्पिटल्स हैं कोविड हॉस्पिटल्स, उनके अंदर रश की कमी होगी, यहाँ पे भी क्राउड आ सकेगा और ज़रूरत पड़ी तो यहाँ पे काफ़ी हॉस्पिटल बेड्स भी हैं, वो लोग भी आ सकते हैं। बहुत अच्छी फैसिलिटी आपके ऑफिसर्स ने मेहनत की है, डीजी आईटीबीपी साहब ने की है, राधा स्वामी सत्संग ब्यास के लोगों ने भी किया है। तो ये सब मिल कर के एक बहुत अच्छा फैसिलिटी आया है, जिससे लोगों को सुविधा भी होगी और बाकी जो पेशेंट्स हैं, सीरियस पेशेंट्स हैं जो हॉस्पिटल्स में जाते हैं डेडिकेटेड, वहाँ उनके लिए भी भीड़ कम होगी।
National carrier Air India has announced 36 evacuation flights between India and the US from 11th to 19th of July under Vande Bharat mission. Air India in a statement said that tickets of the flights may be booked through Air India website only effective from 8 p.m. today onwards. India commenced Vande Bharat mission operation on May 7th to evacuate Indians stranded abroad due to COVID-19 lockdown. More than 5.2 lakh Indians have returned to India through Vande Bharat mission, chartered flights, naval ships and through land borders since May 6th. The mission involved 860 Air India flights, 1,256 chartered flights and 8 naval ships. Meanwhile, the domestic flight operations in the country has witnessed a slow and steady rise in the number of flyers, crossing the 76,000 mark as on July 4th. Monsoon fury continues to wreak havoc in several states of the country. However, situation in Assam is slowly improving as water level has receded at many places. 37 persons have died due to the floods in the state so far, while over 6,80,000 people in 18 districts are still affected by floods. However, there is no report of any death in the past 24 hours. Now, according to the Assam State Disaster Management Authority, over 1,000 villages are affected by floods and 39,600 hectares of crop area is underwater. Relief and rescue work is underway. NDRF and SDRF teams have rescued over 1,000 persons from the affected areas. Nearly 5,000 people are sheltered in 62 relief and rescue centers. The world-famous Kaziranga National Park is now completely underwater. And to get us more on that, our correspondent Doina is joining us from Guwahati. Doina, we tell our viewers that the situation is improving in Assam. Let us know how is the morning there and how has the weather been predicted in the next couple of days.
As you have mentioned, the weather, the weather is quite good today. And in the last 24 hours, the flood situation has further improved, you can say. And the no more deaths been reported in the last 24 hours. And now still the death toll stands at 37. More than 6,80,000 people have been affected presently. And 62 relief camps are open where more than 4,800 inmates are there, and the districts affected 17 have gone down to 17 out of 33 to be mentioned here. And one more thing, the weather report in the according to my department, in the next 2-3 days there might be rainfall, but yesterday and today the weather condition is quite good in many parts of this state. Pretty.
All right, do you know also we tell our viewers that people are taking shelter in the relief camps, and also generally we see that the floods or heavy downpour is followed by the spread of diseases or epidemics. Let us know more about how well equipped are the medical facilities, the hospitals there.
Right, Pretty. The administration is taking all care to the inmates who are there in the relief camps, and as you mentioned, that after effect or the diseases that comes after a flood, for that the district administration in various almost all the districts which are being affected, the proper care has been taken, and hospitals are well equipped. They are prepared for those patients who get affected due to flood. Some diseases may occur. And regarding COVID also, since COVID-19 spread is there in Assam, community transmission, you can say so. The hospitals are quite well equipped for COVID as well as for flood also. Pretty.
All right, Duina, thank you so much for joining us with those updates. That was our correspondent Duina telling us more about the situation currently in Assam. The situation is improving in the state. We'll get you now update on the rains in Mumbai. Rain has stopped in Mumbai as of now. There was continuous downpour in Mumbai and Thane since Sunday morning, resulting in waterlogging at several places. However, water has receded from several areas like Kurla, Gandhinagar and Juhu. Due to waterlogging, routes of best buses have been changed at many places on Sunday, but special suburban services of Western and Central Railways is not hampered. BMC workers were seen cutting fallen trees and removing them from roads in Bandra. Now, according to the Met Office, heavy to very heavy rains are likely to continue in Mumbai and the suburbs. And several districts in Gujarat witnessed heavy rains on Sunday, with Khambaliya Tehsil in Devbhoomi Dwarka district receiving as much as 434 millimeters of rainfall during the day, 292 millimeters between 6 and 8 p.m. alone, which led to major waterlogging. Heavy rains also lashed parts of Porbandar, Gir, Somnath, Junagadh and Amreli districts in Saurashtra region, as well as Valsad and Navsari districts in South Gujarat throughout the day. Ahmedabad Centre of the India Meteorological Department predicted heavy to very heavy rainfall in Saurashtra, North and South Gujarat over the next 3 days. In Bihar, due to light to moderate rainfall witnessed during last 24 hours, water level of the rivers has come down. The situation has also improved due to light rains in Nepal, and the excessive rainwater flowing from there has also decreased. Areas connected to Bagmati, Kosi and Budhi Gandak rivers received rainfall of 10 to 35 millimeters. Talking about Seemanchal in Bihar, the Mahananda river has gone below the danger mark in all the 6 places of Katihar. However, the Adhwara river in Darbhanga is flowing 1 meter 80 centimeters above the danger mark. The water level of the Parman river in Biasi of Purnia is 50 centimeters above the danger mark, while the Ghogha river in Kahalgaon, Bhagalpur is flowing 89 centimeters above the danger mark. There is no serious danger at this point in time, but due to the cutting of embankments in some places, the flood water has spread over a large area. Due to this reason, water level of the rivers has decreased. As part of the government's Unlock 2, all historical monuments protected by Archaeological Survey of India are set to reopen for the public from today. The monuments will be opened for public with full security and precaution after more than 3 months. The Union Ministry of Culture had last week announced reopening of ASI protected properties from July 6th, that is today, with standard operating procedures and safeguards in place. The Archaeological Survey of India has, however, made all arrangements to follow social distancing norms by making circles outside the monuments in Agra. Also, it was clarified by the ministry that only those monuments or museums which are in the non-containment zones will be open for visitors. A total of 3,691 centrally protected monuments come under ASI, out of which 820 centrally protected monuments which have places of worship were opened on 8th of June. While all major historical monuments across the nation are set to open today, the world-famous Taj Mahal and other monuments in Agra will remain closed till further orders, as they fall under the buffer zone areas outside the containment zone. In a tweet, Agra DM Prabhu N. Singh said, considering the impact of coronavirus in Agra, it has been decided that Taj Mahal and some other monuments, including Agra Fort and Akbar Tomb at Sikandra, will fall under the buffer zone. Thus, any movement of tourists in this area could spread coronavirus. At present, there are 71 active containment zones in Agra. And according to officials, though Agra has more or less controlled the COVID outbreak, the situation continues to be bad in Delhi and NCR, from where a rush of tourists is expected. The government has taken a big decision to block 40 websites belonging to banned terrorist outfit Sikhs for Justice for supporting secessionist activities. On the recommendation of the Home Ministry, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology has taken the decision to block these websites of the outfit under IT Act 2000 for indulging in unlawful activities. The outfit, which was banned by the Ministry of Home Affairs about a year ago, has been running an online campaign for recruiting supporters. Meanwhile, on Wednesday, reinforcing the commitment to strengthening national security And Modi government's policy of zero tolerance for terrorism. Union Home Ministry, under the leadership of Home Minister Amit Shah, had declared 9 individuals as designated terrorists under the provisions of UAPA Act. Among them was Gurpatwant Singh Pannun, the chief of Band Sikhs for Justice outfit. And to get us more on that, our correspondent Sudhakar Das is joining us. Sudhakar, we tell our viewers that the government has blocked 40 websites belonging to Sikhs for Justice for supporting the secessionist activities. Get us more on that, and also tell us how important is this step in confirmation with the Modi government's no tolerance for terrorism.
जी देखिए प्रीति, आपको पता ही है 1 जुलाई को एक बड़ा फैसला मोदी सरकार ने लिया है। केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री के निर्देश पर यूनियन होम मिनिस्ट्री ने 9 लोगों को आतंकवादी घोषित किया है। एक तरह से पिछले साल जो यूएपीए कानून में संशोधन किया गया था उसके तहत, और ये एक बड़ा फैसला है। और ये तमाम ऐसे लोग थे जो खासतौर से खालिस्तान या फिर एक तरह से पंजाब में आग लगाने की कोशिश में लगे हुए थे, खालिस्तानी गतिविधियों को बढ़ा रहे थे। उस तरह के ये लोग, इसमें एक सिख फॉर जस्टिस का एक प्रमुख व्यक्ति भी शामिल था। सिख फॉर जस्टिस को पिछले साल ही प्रतिबंधित संगठन घोषित किया गया था, और बावजूद इसके ये लगातार भारत में एक तरह से आग लगाने के लिए, आतंकी साजिशें रचने के लिए कोशिश कर रहा था। और ये 40 जो वेबसाइट है, इसके जरिए ये अपने लिए समर्थक जुटा रहा था, नए रिक्रूटमेंट कर रहा था, और उस पर खुफिया एजेंसियों की काफी नजर थी। गृह मंत्रालय की सलाह पर आईटी मिनिस्ट्री ने ये बैन लगाया है। गृह मंत्रालय और खुफिया एजेंसियों ने काफी दिनों तक इस पर मॉनिटर करने के बाद ये फैसला किया है। आपको पता है प्रीति, पिछले महीने ही 23 जून को सिख फॉर जस्टिस के परगट सिंह को पंजाब से एनआईए ने गिरफ्तार किया है, और हवाला का पैसा सिख ऑफ जस्टिस विदेशों से कई लोगों को भेज रहा था। उसके जरिए पंजाब में सांप्रदायिक भावना भड़काने की कोशिश हो, अलगाववादी भावनाएं भड़काने की कोशिश हो, इस तरह के तमाम चीजें की जा रही थी। पता ये भी चला है कि आईएसआई, पाकिस्तानी एजेंसी आईएसआई इन लोगों को फंडिंग कर रहा है, ताकि सिर्फ सिख फॉर जस्टिस नहीं, इस तरह के कई 4-5 करीब संगठन है जिनको फंडिंग कर रहा है, और अलग अलग नाम से पंजाब में, खासतौर से देश के कई और हिस्सों में आतंकी भावनाएं भड़काने की कोशिश कर रहा है। उस लिहाज से ये काफी महत्वपूर्ण फैसला है, एक बड़ा फैसला है। कम से कम रिक्रूट्स पे रोक लगेगी, तो साथ ही साथ अब कोशिश ये है कि इस संगठन से ताल्लुक रखने वाले और भी लोगों की पहचान की जाए। कई लोगों को गिरफ्तार भी किया गया है, और भी लोगों की पहचान की जाए और उनको कानून के शिकंजे में लाया जाए। प्रीति,
all right, Sudhakar, thank you so much for joining us with those inputs. That was our correspondent telling us more about the decision of the government for banning 40 websites and also naming 9 terrorists as designated, 9 people as designated terrorists. Also, we'll get you an update on the current situation of COVID-19 in the country. Due to collective and focused efforts for containment and management of COVID-19 by the centre, along with the states and union territories, the number of recovered cases rose to over 4,09,000. During the last 24 hours, a total of 14,856 COVID-19 patients have been cured. Union Health Ministry said that there are over 1,64,000 more recovered patients than COVID-19 active cases. This takes the national recovery rate amongst COVID-19 to 60.77%. The ministry said that there are over 2,44,000 active cases and all are under active medical supervision. Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu and Delhi remain the worst affected states in the country from coronavirus. Maharashtra has reported 6,555 COVID-19 cases in the last 24 hours, while 3,658 patients were cured yesterday. In Tamil Nadu, 4,150 persons tested positive for COVID-19 and 60 deaths were reported. 2,186 patients were discharged in the past 24 hours. The national capital, Delhi, reported 2,244 new cases, 63 deaths and 3,883 recoveries in the past 24 hours. In Kerala, triple lockdown has been imposed in Thiruvananthapuram from 6 a.m. this morning for 7 days. All offices except for essential and critical services will remain shut, including the Secretariat. People are advised to remain indoors, and movement of persons can only be made for medical emergencies and delivering essential services and goods. Public cannot come out of their houses into the markets for purchasing, and police and associated volunteers will deliver the essential items at home. No vehicles will ply during this period in the city limit. Entry and exit to the city limits will only be done through single point. Now, this extraordinary decision was taken after Trivandrum has been reporting cases, the origin of which could not be traced. Focused test, trace, treat strategy coupled with various measures recently taken by the government to remove hurdles for COVID-19 testing, there has been a steady rise in the samples tested every day. During the last 24 hours, 2,48,934 samples have been tested. The cumulative number of samples tested as till date is 97,89,066. Birth anniversary of Bharatiya Janasangh founder Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee is being observed today. Paying tributes to Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee on his birth anniversary, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, and I quote him, "I bow to Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee on his Jayanti. A devout patriot, he made exemplary contributions towards India's development. He made courageous efforts to further India's unity. His thoughts and ideals give strength to millions across the nation." Home Minister and senior BJP leader Amit Shah also paid tributes to Dr. Mukherjee on his birth anniversary today. Amit Shah in a tweet said that the nation found a visionary leader in the form of Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, who stressed on the root causes and permanent solutions to India's problems and fought for them throughout his life. And paying rich tributes to founder of Bharatiya Janasangh on his birth anniversary, BJP National President JP Nadda said, based on the ideas of nationalism and nation service, Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee found Janasangh. He also tweeted that your thoughts on equality and in society and united India are highly adherent in the creation of self-reliant India. And IIT Kanpur has started the production of N95 and N99 masks on its campus and has set a manufacturing target of 25,000 masks per day. Human Resource and Development Minister Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank in a tweet congratulated Director of IIT Kanpur, Professor Abhay Karandikar, and his team on the accomplishment. The first of its kind initiative is a joint venture of IIT Kanpur and its Startup Innovation and Incubation Center in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. And the holy month of Sawan or Shravan is starting from today. The entire country is celebrating the first Somvar of Sawan month today. The month of Sawan marks the start of the monsoon season in India. The Shravan month will conclude on 3rd of August. The month is marked by complete devotion to Lord Shiva and observing fasts on Mondays. Some even observe fasts on Tuesdays, which was known as Mangal Gauri Vrat. Amid few festivities in the temples due to the COVID-19 outbreak, devotees gather at Kashi Vishwanath Temple in Varanasi on the first Monday of the Sawan month. In the national capital, devotees offered prayers at Gauri Shankar Temple in Chandni Chowk this morning on the first Monday of Sawan month. Temperature of the devotees is also being checked with thermometer guns as a precautionary measure to contain the spread of COVID-19. In Madhya Pradesh, prayers are being offered at Mahakaleshwar Temple in Ujjain. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath offered prayers at Mansarovar Temple in Gorakhpur to mark the first Monday of the Sawan month. Let's get to the global update on COVID-19 now. The confirmed cases continue to spike worldwide, with cumulative figures rising to over 1.13 crore and over 5.33 lakh fatalities. Now, according to the latest data compiled by Johns Hopkins University, 1 crore 13 lakh 98,501 cases of COVID-19 have been reported across the world. The United States continues to remain the worst hit country with over 28.76 lakh cases and 1,29,891 deaths, followed by Brazil and Russia. Figures of confirmed cases in Brazil remain unchanged since yesterday, which have been reported over 16.03 lakh cases, while the death toll has risen over 64,000.